Okay, moving along. Linda, and she is past president of the June Republican Women's Club, and she's going to introduce her speaker. Linda.
Thank you, Darryl. I'm going to introduce our guest speaker as if there's at least one of you out there that doesn't know. Probably not, but we're going to pretend one of you don't know. Phil. Now, Phil's got the top Hal Chapman, however, but I have confidence in him. And I want you to hold your applause until the end, until I finish, just in case you get excited about some of this about Phil. It gives me great joy, not a script, it gives me great joy to introduce our guest speaker, a man that I call a friend and my Sunday school teacher. He's a Christian man of integrity and of much business savvy. I have a lot of respect for any person who can take one company and build it from the ground up, creating jobs for us in our country. This man has taken not one, but he has done it over and over and over. I want to share with you the names of most of his businesses. Drake Income Tax and Accounting, Drake Software, WPFJ Radio. You gave that away. WMC Sports Zone, Dalton's Christian Bookstore, Macon Printing, Premier Marketing, Franklin Golf Course, DNet Internet Services, Balsam West FiberNet, Tech Place, The Fun Factory, The Boiler Room, the Smoky Mountain Center for the Performing Arts, EPS Financial, Frontworks, Stellar Financial, Sylvan Sport, Galaxy Digital, and Drake Capital. And most of his businesses are centered right here in our little Franklin. Now he has offices in Silva, Hayesville, Rainsville, Easton, Pennsylvania, and Gary, New Hampshire. Okay, that's good. So, a man who has accomplished what Phil has accomplished is a man I want to listen to and hear what he has to say about our country. And that's why it's my privilege to introduce to you our own Phil Drake.
What's really nice is to be able to preach to the choir. And I know that's what I'm doing today. So I don't pretend that I'm going to say anything to you that is brand new to you or that you probably wouldn't already agree with. But let me just tell you a couple of things that I think this could be one of the most important elections in our lifetime. The past midterm election was very important, and we won some key positions in the state legislature, and that enabled us to help get rid of some of the gerrymandering that had gone on. So that was very important. But this coming election is going to be very important. We live in the best country in the world, but we are in trouble. You can clap for the best country in the world. Right? Let me tell you why I think we're in trouble. Number one, I don't know if you saw the news yesterday or not, but the balanced budget amendment was defeated in the House of Representatives because even though 98% of the Republicans voted in favor of a balanced budget, 87% of the Democrats voted against it. Now, I cannot figure out how 165 Democrats can go vote against balancing a budget in America. So, something is wrong with politics when that occurs. Number two, our debt hit $15 trillion this week. That is a lot of zeros. 15 trillion. Your share of the debt, is about 50 grand. 50 grand. Now, if you're married, your wife's share is 50 grand and your husband's share If you've got kids, their share is 50 grand. We are upside down in America, and we have to do something about that. So we're in trouble. Number 3, Mr. Obama postponed until after the 2012 elections the pipeline to bring Canadian oil to our Gulf, and now Canada is talking about selling it to the Chinese instead of selling it to the United States. We're in trouble when that kind of stuff happens. Number 4, it has come to light recently that Democratic fundraisers have gotten all kinds of loans from Solyndra to you name it, and then they've gone bankrupt. And guess what? The investors who contributed to the Democratic Party didn't have to pony up any money. You did. So we're in trouble. Number 5, this Occupy movement. That honestly, they're really socialists and Hollywood elites that are trying to take over. I don't know if you watched Fox News this week, what they're doing in New York, trying to keep blue-collar workers from getting to work. Somebody needs to put a stop to that. Number 6, our borders are porous. And the problem is when governors like the governor of Arizona tries to do something about it, our president tries to get in the way of that. So we're in trouble. Something has to change. I am tired of the president trying to be Facebook friends with the Chinese and with terrorists in the Middle East. We need a president who will unfriend those folks, and we need to get back. His style of diplomacy, apologizing for America to terrorists, does not work. The Obamacare, when it is fully implemented, and let's hope that the Supreme Court stops that coming up, and I'm hopeful that that will occur. But if it does come in full play, it is going to raise health insurance costs even further. My company's health insurance costs are going up in January 26%. $800,000 more we'll pay in health insurance in 2012 than we paid in 2011. That's about $12,000 a week more that it's costing us in health insurance. There's lots of reasons for that. And if you want me to go into those, I'll go into them after my speech, but there's lots of reasons that Obamacare is bad for America, and it's bad for health insurance. Finally, the tax rates. We have to do something about tax rates in America. The bottom, if you lump the bottom 40% of America into one group, bottom 40% of income earners, they are in a negative tax bracket. Now, I don't mind if the bottom tier folks are in a zero bracket. I can live with that. But when the best tax rate in America is negative 18%, there's something wrong with that. When you can get money back for doing nothing, we're in trouble. So I have a few solutions. Let me tell you what I think some of these solutions are. The good news is 98% of Republicans voted for the balanced budget amendment. All we need is more Republicans in Congress. So that's number one. Give us a few more Republicans in Congress. We lost that vote by 29 votes. A lot of congressional races are up for bids this time around. We need to gain 29 and we can get a balanced budget amendment in America. In May, there's a great opportunity. There's going to be a North Carolina marriage amendment come up on the May ballot. We have to protect marriage in America as between young men and women. We don't have to get into trying to pry into people's bedrooms. I'm not after that. But the idea that we're going to give same-sex couples the same kind of survivor benefits for Social Security, the same kind of health insurance coverage, all of those other benefits that only throughout our entire history we've reserved for one man and woman, we have to protect that. So that's number two. We have to elect more Republicans. We have to pass the North Carolina Marriage Amendment. And there's a solution to the debt crisis. This is not brain surgery. We have to stop spending more than we have. You cannot borrow yourself into prosperity. I want to say that again. You cannot borrow yourself into prosperity, and you can't spend yourself into prosperity. The real tax rate in America is not what they collect from you right now. The real tax rate in America is what they spend today. Because whatever they spend today, they are going to get from you one way or the other. So when they spend $1 trillion or $1.5 trillion more this year than they take in, the real tax rate is about 50% higher than you're paying today. Because they're spending that and they're going to get it from you, or get it from your children, or get it from your grandchildren. So we just have to stop spending. We do not need another stimulus. God help us if we spend another $1 trillion trying to stimulate this economy. There is a way to create revenue, though. The super committee keeps talking about revenue. That's their euphemism for a tax raise. But there is a great way to create revenue. It is to create jobs. All we have to do is to create enough jobs to put folks back to work in America. That will, the unemployment rate is not really 10%. That's just what's published. I think it is at least twice that, because that does not include all of the self-employed people who don't have enough work, or either underemployed, or just can't get construction jobs. So I think the real unemployment rate in America is probably 20%, and we have to create jobs. If the government will just get out of the way, we can create jobs, put people back to work, and we will get more revenue from that just by putting people back to work. Now, there's several ways to create jobs. I have some ideas on how to create jobs. Number one, we ought to start drilling for oil everywhere. All the oil that Canada has. We should stop sending $1 to the Middle East to buy oil. We are funding our own terrorists over there by sending that. We need to be extracting our own natural. We have one of the largest natural gas reserves in the world, and we're not doing anything about it. We can create lots of jobs if the government will just get out of the way. Private enterprise will go to work doing those things. Number two, the way to create jobs is stop this unfair, I guess I call it unfair trade practices with China. Now I love free trade as long as it's fair. But what China is doing is not anywhere close to fair trade. They are subsidizing their exports so that it is beneficial for other companies to move to China and produce the goods and services there. We need to be producing those goods and services inside the U.S. And for us to even think about subsidizing China or letting them subsidize their own exports, we ought to stop doing that. In fact, I'm in favor of doing whatever it takes to make them trade fair. And that would include putting tariffs on Chinese imports into America. Finally, you know what? Most people in America agree with everything we're doing. So this coming May and this coming November, we don't have to convince liberals to agree with us, because they're not going to. All we have to do is inspire those patriotic conservatives all across our country that it is important enough to get to the polls. Because there are enough of them for us to win the election by a landslide. So, let me just encourage you. Do whatever it takes to get your friends and neighbors out to vote, because by and large, especially in this area of the country, most folks in this area of the country, whether they're independents, Republicans, or Democrats, are very conservative. And most Democrats don't even like what's going on in Washington. And you can get them to vote for us this November. Thank you very much.
The Macon County Republicans and the Country Republican Women's Club wants to present you with this medal for your dedicated service to the Republican Party.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Phil. Now, lately you told how far he's brought that business. Let me tell you how far he brought it. His daddy used to do my income tax with a pencil and a piece of notebook paper. Because I was making $36 a week, so it wasn't too hard to do. Okay, we're going to close the song.
General Motors cost. Thank you, music lovers.